in this episode of the Living God's Light podcast.
We knew we were going to do this nonprofit and do this movement. Everyone was trying to put me in the center focal point of Living God's Light. And always it's not about me. It's about this movement of all of us helping each other. And a movement like that, it continues. Even after I pass, it continues and it grows, and it makes that wave of light all around the world the way it's supposed to.
I am
living God's light.
How'd you miss that, Lynn? How'd you miss it?
Well, I saw it and I waved as it went by. I've got this picture. So we've got May the 4th, which is significant to me, but also Cinco de Mayo. And since I was born in Mexico and got some Mexican heritage, that was kind of cool. So I've got the Star Wars costuming thing that I do. One of them is Director Krennic from Rogue One.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he looks exactly like him.
Yeah. So soon after Rogue One came out, if you did a Google search for Director Krennic, a picture of me with Darth Vader as Director Krennic was the third picture that came up on a
Are you serious?
Yeah, I screenshot it. It was kind of cool. Anyway, so at a work party one year, we had a Cinco de Mayo party. I think it was on May the 4th because it was like on a Friday or something. So I've got a picture of me as Director Krennic in a sombrero with maracas. I'll have to share it with you guys.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So it's fun, and it's for a good cause and fun. That's what the armor over here is for. Also, it's another Star Wars costuming group. Yep. Anyway, so conference.
Oh, conference. Conference. I'm still buzzing. I want to know how you guys feel.
It went so well. It was, I was very hopeful, and it exceeded my hopeful expectations. It went really, really well.
Yeah.
Lots of great feedback.
Well, let's be just totally authentic here.
Yeah.
Our planning was not as far out as we would have liked it to be.
Oh,
right?
No, we were thinking about turning it off because well, it took us a while to get the venue locked down.
Right.
For starters. So we felt like we were behind.
Hard to plan a conference if you don't know where it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we started that early enough. We just couldn't get anybody to respond. And then we finally did, and it worked out. And we're planning on doing a lot of like intimidatingly leveling up next year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if our attendees had a good experience, we need to provide a different good experience next year. That's really what it feels like, right? So, yeah.
Well, we're talking about going from one room to three, from one track to three, quadrupling the number of people.
Are we going to do it?
Easily.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
Well, and also realize we kept
didn't
it super
advertise at all.
No, we didn't. We wanted to have the people that showed up this year are the ones that were called to be there.
Right.
And which isn't to say if you didn't show up that you're not called. It was that particular event. There was a specific reason for that, the way everything lined up. Next year we're going to advertise it more broadly. We're going to invite a lot more people to speak. More details on that coming out soon if you feel called to speak. We just really wanted to make sure that we had a handle on what we were doing before we went big.
Right.
And I think we do.
Vinney, how do you feel like it went?
It went awesome. I look at every day like an adventure. I accept what arrives and lovingly do so, and just I work with my guidance team to see what I am to receive and to learn from it. And expectation is always going to be a part of anything you plan. It is.
Yeah.
And so I typically kick him out of the equation right before anything begins. So expectation, I said, hey, get out of the car. You're not allowed to go with me over to Palace Station. And so by the time I got there, he was gone. And now I just had this open receiving state.
Yeah.
And that's what I stayed in the whole weekend. And to me, it was a blessed event, truly blessed. I felt so much synchronicities. Even as one person would ask about this, their answer would walk by. I mean, that's what was going on there. And it was really neat. It was neat to be a part of, but I feel so much of it was bigger than us. I do. And that there was a lot of momentum from the spirit side, making it happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something that impressed me, I mean, we're there, all of us spoke and presented, and Alan spoke as well. But as we're listening to each other and then talking and learning from the people that were there, I had some new downloads, some new revelations, if you will, just talking to people. So it leveled me up a whole lot. I learned a whole lot that, and we may share some of that here in the future. But yeah,
Well, is there one you could share now? Can you share?
No,
You can't?
no, it's not.
Not time yet, huh?
No,
All
it's
right.
not time to go. Right, it's a deep, deep discussion.
Okay.
That yeah, I don't think we're.
It's one of those things where it's like you have to unpack it to even fully comprehend it and feel it and know it before, but you recognize that it's happening as you go there. Yeah.
It's something that I could share with you both offline, but it's not ready to go big yet.
Yeah.
Well, take that nugget and put it in your soup.
Sorry, I was going to just blow right by it, but
no, that's okay. I think it's good to honor that, something was sacred to you and you need time with it, and it doesn't need to be everybody's business right now. I think this is actually a small lesson for all of us, that we can keep and create boundaries for ourselves to protect our spiritual space and our spiritual growth, for sure. So,
well, and also it's an example that the big things that happen when you immerse yourself in a community that's all pointed towards strengthening connection with God and with each other. Being in that environment kind of opens things up to new ideas and new concepts and new insights.
Yeah, for sure. Man.
So, Alyssa, how about you? What was your thoughts, your takeaways?
You guys made me speak, and I spoke.
You did awesome.
Okay, you didn't make me speak.
You did an amazing job. Like for that being your first conference to speak at, you did a really amazing job.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It didn't look like your first presentation.
Well, and okay, old me would have been like, no, like it wouldn't hear you. It would just say, you're just saying that, but I do hear you. And I watched it back, and I mean, I was even watching it from like an objective point of view, and I was like, oh my gosh, that actually went pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm very pleased. Yeah.
Yeah. Something I learned, especially in the flying days, there's always something that you can do better at. And you see it, you acknowledge it, you bring him in, you go, okay, great. But at the same time, acknowledge what went really well. I mean, you've got to be completely honest. You've got to recognize this went well. We need to do that again.
Yeah.
We need to do that, more of that. And then this, we can tweak some dials and refine some things and make it even better next time. And it's just having that full 360-degree view of awesomeness.
Yeah. Well, and I really wanted to show up and be as authentic as I could. I didn't want to hide Alyssa, I wanted to be me. And I was not in a boastful way, but I was proud to be me. I was proud to be me there. And I felt very accepted. And
Well, I liked, and this is something that's very good for everybody listening to this to be aware of. I liked that you went through the process of your initial preparation, what you thought it was going to be, and then you realized that all of your preparation to that point was not for the people receiving it. It was so you could impress them with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that realization, that self-awareness is so good. And it was such a good lesson that realizing that allowed you to shift to where you needed to be
Yeah.
and provide what you needed to do. And many times we just carry on and don't sit back and look and go, okay, wait a minute, how can I approach this better? How can I change my mindset to be more effective? And it's a great introspective thing to do. Also, we should probably also mention for anybody who's listening to the podcast now and they're like, oh, I missed it, didn't even know he had a conference. We are, by the time you're hearing this, we may have it all set up already, but we're working on making a way for people who missed out on that opportunity to still gain access to that. It'll be available through our website. You'll see it through instruction or something. Just look, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Get on the email list that
Mhm.
get on our subscriber list through our website, and we'll be making that announcement as it becomes available there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we send out pretty much all of our stuff is through email.
Well, and once it's ready to go to, I can put it down in the show notes in this episode. So
Oh, perfect.
yeah. One thing I want to just say about what you just said is jumping back to being introspective and self-awareness. When I was going through the process of developing that presentation, I wasn't even aware at the moment how I was trying to impress. Like I really was just genuinely trying to create a good story. But I kept having a roadblock. It just kept hitting this wall that I could not bridge what I was like, the content that I actually wanted to share
Mhm.
with the story. And, I look at that and I go, hold on, wait, this roadblock was part of um, the process of me needing to see what I couldn't see, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So there was some trust there and some surrendering that, I trust that this is what I'm supposed to speak about, the content,
Mhm.
and then I'm surrendering to the fact that this isn't working and, just letting go. And then I could see it all. I could see how I was just trying to impress really with some of the things I've been through. So it was a cool process. You Lynn, what everybody doesn't know is we got done on a meeting one morning and I was wigging out because I had just created this whole presentation, but it wasn't coming together. And I was like, you guys, it's not coming together. Like, I am freaking out. And Lynn's like, yay! You got to share why you said yay because I, at the moment, was like, this is not fun. Why are you so happy for me?
Well, okay, before I get into that, what was your when I gave you that response, you're like, "Oh, everything's falling apart. I don't know what to do." And I'm like, "That's awesome."
Yeah.
How did you receive that? What did that do to you and your mindset?
Well, first of all, you are a trusted friend for me. And I respect and appreciate the things that you've created up to this point in your life. And so I look at that. And when you said that, you kind of gave me this safety net a little bit to say, this is part of it. It's okay. Hold
Mhm.
on. You're going to get clarity. But it really did. Like it helped me like get over the hump, if you will, to climb myself out of the uncomfiness of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. It was good.
Cool.
So thank you. But at the time it sucked.
Yeah, and it was a really just kind of a partly a guided reaction, um, but it was also a just a spur of the moment, this is the response that she needs.
Yeah.
So as a leader, we're going to get into leadership a little bit here. One of the early things that you learn in military officer training, at least the course that I took, is that you can be a leader from anywhere. You can be a brand new bottom of the ladder person and still lead. Because what is a leader? A leader is really just somebody who influences other people to take an action. That's all it is.
Mhm.
So as long as you can influence people to take actions, you're leading. Vinney leads me, Alyssa, you lead me all the time, probably without even realizing it. Yeah, because you
You lead
influence
both of
me to
us.
do things. What's that? Yeah, you do. You do.
You lead both of us. You really do.
Oh my goodness. Well,
Yeah.
that's cool. That is cool. This is a
Yeah.
big
And as you do this more, we'll point out like the whole behind the scenes living God's light stuff. We'll dig into that more. But for our listeners, look at ways. It doesn't matter where you are. Leadership is not a title. I've known lots of people with titles who could not lead anybody out of a wet paper bag. But I've also known people that were brand new to an organization that transformed the organization because of the way that they led people above them. So, in that moment, when you're having this freak out, I knew that was when that happened, you were like the flower that was just starting to peek out from the ground. You'd been doing this germination process, and now all of a sudden you were coming out into the light.
Yeah.
And you needed some water, and the sunshine was already there, but you needed some of that nourishment to continue that growing and that unfolding to encourage you along that path.
Yeah.
Because you were on the path of discovery. And that's what I was excited about, is you were gaining some personal insights, and now you were seeing the track that you had to follow to get the people what they needed.
Yeah.
And I've been there. I know it's tough in that moment because you don't see where the path is going to lead through the trees.
Yeah. That's
But
for sure.
But I figured you needed motivation and encouragement that you were on the right path and you were going to get there. And this was a wonderful thing to reach.
Yeah. And it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got there.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting me.
Yeah.
Thank you for trusting me. Because it's really cool. Like as I've stepped, into that space, it was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know this was something I could do. So thank you. Thank you to both of you.
Absolutely.
It was awesome to witness your family watching too. That was really cool.
My parents were there. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my mom leaned over to my dad, I guess. This is what she told me after. She leaned over to my dad while I was speaking. I was like, you made that.
And I can just visualize him saying, I know.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it was so great to meet them.
Yeah, it was very cool to me that they could be there and finally meet you guys and just support what we're doing here. So it's very cool.
Yeah, I could feel my mom on the other side, being one of the producers on the other side of it.
Really?
And then that was really neat to have both of your parents there.
Yeah, my parents were there as well.
That was really cool.
Yeah. So cool. Vinney, I want to know what you thought and how you felt there. Okay, this is the curious side of me from like the super outside. This has got to take a toll on you. You did a lot of practitioner work there, healing some of our attendees. How did you feel after? Does that take a lot out of you? I want to know.
It does. I know to do at least one crash day afterwards, and I did. I slept for, I have a hard time sleeping 6 hours, let alone 8. That's who I am since I had my experience. And I slept for 24 hours actually. So I was.
Wow.
Yeah. Now not straight. I wish it was straight, but I didn't. It was like sleep, wake up, take care of everybody, go back to sleep. Yeah. And I did. For 24 hours, it was, my body needed some reset, needed some rest. And to be honest, in full authenticity, that's still happening. And I had my first good 8 hours sleep last night, actually. So there's a bit of, come down from an event like that. But I'll tell you what, that first night in the hotel, I had the hardest time going to sleep because there was so much high energy there. So much high energy of not just the participants, but all the teams of souls that come with those participants. I almost feel that every participant that came had a whole story of why not to be there, but how they worked through that and came to this event that they didn't know what it was, to be given by a bunch of people who didn't know what it was as we were building it. And only what it became was just days before even. We were starting to get an idea of what it was becoming. And I see now why Spirit was being so vague on a lot of it. Is it's like they wanted to build the foundation of what it's turning into over time. And just a regular event that happens in different places all over the world where people can find an ignition of their inner light and find some healing, or get access to new modalities of healing for their soul, for their body, for their mind. It's just really neat. It's just amazing to be a part of, truly.
It really was. Lynn, is it hard for you? Like physically?
No, by the end, I was kind of emotionally drained, being a bit of an introvert, being around. I mean, I loved every minute of it, and talking with everybody. But being around that many people for that long, I needed to step away and recharge for a bit. So we took some time, and haven't been able to totally take a break yet. I'm hoping next week I can take a bit of a break. But physically, it's fine. I never have any trouble getting to sleep. I don't know how much of that is military, but yeah, I can pretty much fall asleep on demand.
Man, you don't realize how blessed that is to be able to have that gift.
Oh, I know it is. It's yeah. Well, and part of it, and one of the things that we talked about was your perception, your self-perception, your self-image. And I think part of it is because I decided at some point that was a necessary skill, and so I developed it. And I've got some techniques when my brain is going like really full and a lot going on. I've got some techniques to clear everything out and then shut everything down. So sometimes it takes me 5 or 10 minutes, but I'm usually out within, I don't know, a couple minutes.
How lucky.
I think last night was the first night in a long time that I got to fall asleep like that.
Really?
Where everything decided in me, it was sleepy time. And because I have my technology procedure where it goes over here, and heaven forbid I reach out and grab it, I'm going to be awake. I know I am. So that's a big part of it, keeping that. But I'll tell you something that I picked up, this grayscale thing that you brought in, Alyssa.
Yeah? Is it helping?
It's pretty much as like putting your phone down and not wanting to pick it up. It's
I
weird.
know, right? You look at it and you're like, this is flat.
Okay, so you got to talk a little more about.
What is this, a newspaper?
Okay, so but the grayscale that we're talking about just came into my awareness on social media, a reel by Mel Robbins, just sharing some of the
techniques.
Yes, some of the benefits of turning your phone to grayscale, and one that jumped out right at me was phone usage and being able to, like, they've done studies that if you turn your phone to grayscale, just the grayscale filter, that you will use your phone less. And then your awareness around it, you'll have better sleep. And so I walked everybody through that at the conference of how to turn iPhones, because I'm sorry, I don't have Android, but I could do it on iPhones. And It's really helped me. It's really helped me, especially when I'm like in the middle of editing. This is what happens, guys. I'm going to tell you what happens to me. I will be editing, okay? And something's got to process and it takes like 5 minutes to process. First thing I do, look at my phone. And I look on social media for a minute, check stats on stuff, and it's a bad habit. But I've noticed when I pick up a grayscale screen, I'm like, there's nothing here, and it's turned it more into a tool rather than entertainment. So it's very useful.
Yeah. Well, it's cool how those just little things you can do can make a big difference.
Yeah.
And can I mention, I got to admit, I'm still a little thrilled that this worked out so well. So on mine, we were talking about self-image, and so the mix and mingle that we had the night before, so many times I heard people saying, "Oh, I'm really bad with names," and that's where I got the idea of mentioning at the end of my presentation that if you stop saying I'm really bad with names, because I used to be, and then I just started saying I'm getting better with names.
Yeah.
And the difference that made, so we get to the end and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to name everybody that I talked to the night before.
Yeah.
Even if it was like a 10-second conversation. Like, oh, I hope I get most of them. And I had help. I know I had help, but 22 people.
That was so cool. It was really cool to watch, and every time you did it, you could feel like the tension in the room, just getting, oh, is he going to do it? Is he going to do it? And then I looked over at Josh, who was running all our AV stuff, my husband, and I was like, I literally like did mic drop explosion. Because it was just a cool moment where you built up so much tension of like, oh my gosh. It was such a visual, palpable thing that I can change my wording on how I talk about myself, and it can make a difference.
Yeah, you change the way that you look at yourself, the way you see yourself, and it changes everything.
Yeah, it was so cool. Good job on that.
Thank you.
And good claim to claim your words. Most of us don't realize that our words are building our paradigm. They're building our belief system. They're building our reality. And we're the ones that create those words. We don't have to use the words we used to use. And I love that you claimed that and said, I'm not going to use that anymore. That doesn't synchronize with what I want. So I'm going to use something that does.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It
was awesome.
And I think after that conference, you can now say, I'm really good with names. 22.
Yeah. I need to make that shift. Here's one of the other things, though, is I recognize that I'm still holding myself back with that framework. So yeah, I need to change it and say I'm really good with names.
Well, what's cool is you need to dive into your fighter pilot personality, aka ego. Because the fighter pilot within is like, oh, I'm the best at everything. Because that's what fighter pilots are. They have to rise to the top of their class and truly be the best at everything. Like use a part of that self, but not in an egotistical, selfish way, but in a honor the work within way.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you what, if you can remember 10 names from the night before, I'd say you're really good with names.
Yeah.
22? That's more than double that. So
yeah. Well, and that's also 100% of the people I talk to.
Wow. You didn't miss anybody.
No, I went through, I looked everybody in the eye, and if it was somebody I'd talked to the night before, I was going to say their name.
That's
you
so
even
awesome.
remembered the manager of the Vinney.
Oh yeah, Carl. He was really
look at that.
Cool. Really helpful.
He looked
really
out for
good
us,
with names.
Good job, you guys. Oh goodness. Just blown away. I'm still coming down from, the spiritual amazingness, enlightenedness that it was. It was really remarkable. It was cool.
Yeah, and something that somebody mentioned to me afterwards is that they've been to a lot of personal development conferences. That's just kind of what they do. And they said we did a really good job of hitting all of those key points from unique perspectives with the four of us that presented. that each of us we gravitated towards our strength and presented it in a way that resonated with them and kind of gave them new perspectives on each of those. So I don't know if that makes sense, but it was just from beginning to end, really well laid out. And again, we can't take full credit for that because, as Vinney said, we were kind of guided through this whole process all the way up through the very end. But yeah, it was really gratifying to see how uplifting, how inspiring, and spiritually fulfilling it was for people.
Yeah, for sure.
What I love this so much, okay, is when this first came up, even as a concept or an idea, it started with a retreat we were running that had some major obstacles in it. And we got to the end of that retreat and said, we'll never do that again. But we could all feel it. It was heaven reaching out saying, hey, we're not going to have you guys do that anymore. We need you to convert over to this.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started. That's where the conversation started. And before you knew it, we were like 2 months out and still not lined up on certain things. And there was a lot of it forming, but I could feel so strongly that Spirit was working with all three of us. And some of us like dragging our feet, myself included, like, do you even want to do this? Like,
well, I was looking at, I don't know if we've got enough time to actually pull this off. Should we just roll it to next year?
But I noticed that synchronistically, some of the first numbers stated were the numbers that got hit, and it's like, so let's use those words for the next one. Let's start stating some very positive numbers, and this is to be a movement. I could feel every single person that was there was going home different in a very positive way. And they were going home and making a difference in their own worlds, their own realms, you know, and to feel that blast of light going out and truly all over the United States. I mean, we, you know, east to west, north to south, and Canada.
Yep.
We had such a broad spectrum of people. I could feel all that light going back to their homes. Ignited, you know, amplified. And I could feel also even the local area of Las Vegas. We had more rain in the 24 hours after that conference than we had record amounts of rain. And isn't it funny? Okay, Spirit, I have to tell you this. Spirit played a joke on me. So Spirit does this all the time. They play jokes on me. It's like lightly raining, and Spirit says, hey, why don't you grab a jacket for your daughter because she walks home from the bus. Why don't you grab a light jacket for your daughter because you're okay getting wet. So just grab a jacket for her, bring it out to her and meet her at the bus stop so that, you know, she can be dry. And you know what? Bring your dog. And about maybe 3 blocks away from my house, it's like torrential downpour. It was so bad. I was so soaked. I was worried my phone would be compromised. So I had to grab one of those doggy doo-doo bags and put my phone in it. Because, you know, a good dog walker has those on them.
Yeah.
So I figured, you know, that's really funny that Spirit's setting up this whole situation. And then I get to see my daughter and meet her at the bus stop, who she's, you know, 15. And she goes, Dad, what the heck are you doing here? You're soaked. And I'm like, I know. And my dog is like so freaked out because she's never been hit with rain like this. I was holding her in my jacket. She was like shivering. And she goes, Dad, I already have a jacket. And I was like, Spirit, you did this to me. I know you did. And it was a way of lovingly saying, that the after effects of this conference are going to wash over all of us. And some of us were going to be that, shaking little dog, just soaked and scared. And some of us are going to be grabbing the doo-doo bag and covering the important stuff. And so there's a way to process this for me to understand that everyone's going to receive this change in a different way. But in the long run, it will be positive for every single person that was there.
We've been talking very positively about the conference, and it was very, very positive. But we're also not lost on the fact that there's room for improvement,
Yeah.
And so the attendees that came, gosh, this is why we need feedback, because we want it to be an improved experience for the future conferences we have. And not only that, if you are listening to this and you feel like, man, I do not want to miss out, I want to be part of that, I'm telling you, we need your help. We need your help. Living God's Light it's not meant to be just us 3, or including Alan, just us 4, right? It's not meant to be just us. It's meant to be everybody. So if you want to feel like you're part of, if you feel called to be part of it, please reach out. We need the volunteers. We need team members. We want you. We really do want you. So if you're feeling called, gosh, our hearts are open and waiting.
Well, it's like when we wrote the book and we knew we were going to do this nonprofit and do this movement, everyone was trying to put me in the center focal point of Living God's Light. And always it's not about me. It's about this movement of all of us helping each other. And a movement like that, it continues even after I pass. It continues and it grows, and it makes that wave of light all around the world the way it's supposed to. So it's about the listener. And yes, if you're listening to this right now, it's about you. It is.
Yeah. And I started getting, I'll just continue with it that way. Started getting an idea of where things are going this next year. Not much intimidates me. I am towing the line of being intimidated at how big this is going to happen in the next year. And so yes. And also I will add, don't feel like you need to wait for our permission, approval, or structure to build your own Living God's Light community.
Oh, yeah.
And to offer suggestions on what's working. So be your own laboratory of what Living God's Light is and how you're building your community, and then share with us how that's working. Because we've got some ideas. We're creating some structure and some framework that's going to get rolled out. Some of it this month. It's probably out by the time you're getting this already. But there's no one way to do this. There's Alyssa's way and my way and Vinney's way and your way as the listener, because this is bigger than any one blueprint. Yeah. And if you feel called to try something, give it a try. And that may not be the final, kind of like Alyssa with the presentation. Like, this isn't going the way I thought it was going to. That's a moment to celebrate and rejoice, because now you've just got more experience for when you try a new path.
Yeah. Yeah, that's certainly right.
As you were saying that, Lynn, Spirit says, Living God's Light is not a brand. It's a wave of a cooperative movement.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And it's so cool to be a part of it, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I wake up every morning. Yeah.
Everybody listening, you're part of it, and we need your help to expand this, because it's going to take all of us to do it in all of our unique, special, gifted ways to do this. And yeah, well, we're going to have some templates and suggestions and ideas for baseline stuff that we're going to be putting out over the next few months. But don't those are just like potential maps. There's no guardrails on that.
Yeah.
Follow your own intuition.
All right. I want to end this podcast by just sending so much gratitude to the Creator, to Spirit that helped us, to everybody who attended, to those who weren't able to attend but wanted to attend, those who were online. Gosh, thank you so much. It really was a miracle to me. So, is there anything else you guys want to add before we end?
Again, so grateful. So grateful for the team that helped get it all together to begin with, and thankful for the team of participants that all contributed their positive energy and positive emotions to make it what it was, because everybody that was there was part of that team.
Yeah.
Including the folks online, also part of that team. We could feel it.
Yep.
And we deeply appreciate you and you listening to this. Even if you're just coming to this now and feel like you missed the conference, just jump in where you're at. We love you. We're grateful that you're here with us.
I want to also express my appreciation to the heavenly realm, the other side. I feel like for every participant there was like 30 or 40 souls or spirits there helping on the other side. I could feel them even smiling and like laughing as we had some light technical difficulties, and saying, well, look how we were able to get them the right way for this and the right way for that. And it was real funny too. Like every time we started talking about the spiritual realm, it seemed like there became technical difficulties. And it was almost like their way of saying, we're listening, we're here, we're part of this. And it was a beautiful experience, just so beautiful. Even I had the head of security come and talk to me and say, we love your group. He says, we haven't met any of them. We love them. And he says that's very rare.
Wow.
Because even doing a family reunion, security ends up meeting a few of them, in the wrong way. And he said that it was the most peaceful and loving group that he'd been aware of. And he said that we didn't notice this, but he said that their security department did a regular check to just come walk in, see how things were, and then left. And I guess there was a back door at the convention room too that they would pop open once in a while and just check on things. And he said that there was one guy who was doing the pop-ins, and he wouldn't let anyone else do it because he was looking forward to what he was going to hear next time he popped in. So it was really neat.
Cool.
It was just even hearing that, real world perspective of, hey, we appreciate what you guys are, even though we don't know what you are. We appreciate what you are. And that was really cool. That was awesome.
So cool. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. It's been awesome to even process it and talk about the conference. And I love you both.
Love you too. I'm so excited for next year.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Super excited for next year.
Thank you for expanding your light today. If you want to find more information, get connected to our community, or simply contribute, see our website at livinggodslight.org. As always, please subscribe.